Through the prismatic mists of Pandora, the ambiguous corsairs could tell something was amiss. They looked to Feanir for advice, only to find that he had walked off the deck. He did not fall into the water, however. As the wizard strode forward, a woodland scene opened around him. I know where this is. This is where my mentor's home was. He looked around. His vast arcane knowledge began to break down the situation. I'm my mentor. It makes sense. He never told me where he was really from because he was me. He turned back to the captain, still standing on nothing as he loomed in front of the woodland portal. I know something will move into the void that I'm going to leave, but if I don't leave now, I won't be here to get you here.
Oh, you actually do have a table.
Yeah.
You weren't lying about that.
No, I built a table.
Also, you can let go of my hand.
Hey Lenny, how you doing?
Pretty good.
That's awesome. Good to see you back.
Yeah. Kind of by my own volition this time?
That's an improvement over last time.
Yes. I tried to come talk to him and he kind of just grabbed me and about a mile in, he heard me and let me go.
And there was no biting this time.
Yeah, I heard about that. He said you bit him the last time you came out here. Is there any truth to that?
There might be some.
All right.
Can't remember. But I think there was.
I'm Recorder.
And this is Recorder and Sam. What's washed up in Inundatia? It's kind of a problem this week since one of the key facts is that Teddy is still kidnapped.
Yeah, that's kind of a big problem for all of Lattice, but, for us too, because he kind of gets us our information.
Well, that's why Lenny's here.
I want to be clear. I did not kidnap him. I know he wanted me arrested. That was not on me.
That's right. He was kind of asking for, hey, you know what? I mean, it's unfortunate that the mayor's missing, but it's kind of good we're having Lenny on while he's indisposed.
Lenny does have a story for us, and I think it's one that we're definitely going to want to try to get fixed.
Okay.
It's interesting. The lighthouse disappeared.
A lighthouse?
Yeah. The building that has a light that shoots out into the ocean.
The whole lighthouse?
Yes.
Not part of it?
The whole thing.
And
even the land.
Yeah, even a chunk of the coastline it was on is gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it like a clean cut?
No.
Giant rust monster.
But for dirt?
Giant dirt monster?
But for lighthouses.
Giant lighthouse monster.
It looks like it just poofed.
It just disappeared. It didn't move. It didn't get destroyed. It's just...
From what I can see, it just looks like it poofed.
Huh.
Like some unseen hand reached in, grabbed a big chunk of lighthouse and coastline, and just took it.
It's a problem. All the merchants don't want to leave now or come in.
Yeah, now we're down lighthouse, which makes traveling by sea at night significantly more difficult.
Yeah, you don't want to crash up on the shore.
Yeah.
Is there any clues to go on other than here 1 minute, gone the next?
That's about it.
I wasn't there when it happened. And
Neither
Lenny
was I. I just happened to walk by and saw it missing.
I thought it sounded crazy, so I went down to confirm, and yeah, it's gone. It's just gone.
That's bizarre. That would take an insanely powerful spell, right? For something that massive to just disappear in the blink of an eye? Do we even know, was it a gradual thing? Or...
This is what we need help finding out.
Yeah.
So this is just the preliminary report. We know this happened, but we have nothing to go on as of right now.
And
Correct.
with Teddy not around, we don't have anybody looking into it.
Or someone to organize a group of people to go look into it.
So I'm taking a slightly more active role than usual. So yeah, if you're looking to help us out with this is a favor to me personally, feel free to meet at a Drunk Duck. I am more than happy to help organize a party, and we can start actually, getting this set up, because I'm more than a little invested in this. It's almost like I get shipments.
And if you don't know where a Drunk Duck is, and you know where one of the Lizardfolk work, I'll probably be there. So if you want me to lead you to a Drunk Duck, that also works.
And it seems to me that being owed a favor from Sam is probably a good thing to have in your pocket.
I wouldn't know that.
I mean, it tends to just get you drunk.
Again, a good thing to have in your pocket.
And fed. But, no, I want to go back on that. You're working with the Lizardfolk, Lenny?
Yeah, they, no one seemed to want to do that job of trying to help them incorporate into the society. And, they were fishermen. I know how to fish. I know how to sell fish. So I figured, why not?
So do you plan on using this to actually get your own business started? Or using them to...
We're kind of working in a coalition right now to...
I feel like the word you were looking for is in tandem.
No, coalition's right.
All right.
Maybe your word is right too. I don't know. But yeah, no, we're kind of helping each other help each other.
So are you having them use higher levels of tech? I imagine they're not particularly well versed in it, and you could be a good jumping ground to actually, help them learn how to do more than just strings tied to sticks.
Yeah, that's what they were working with. I showed them better fishing rods that pull up better fish and don't break as easily.
I assumed most lizard folk were spearfishers.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, but fishing poles are better than spears.
I see the appeal, but if you are able to hold your breath for a significant amount of time and are very good swimmers, it stands to reason you're going to want to get down closer to the thing you're going to be catching, so you can actually see what it is before you reel it up.
But with a fishing pole, you can have more of them go out on a boat, with a couple of them prepped to go in and probably punch a fish to death. I imagine a fish putting up a fight on the end of a pole is a lot less willing to fight when you punch it in the face.
Yeah, but if they're going down to punch the fish anyway, why not just also put a sharp stick in it at the same time?
At no point does that stop the fishing pole.
I wanted to help, so I showed them how I fish, and...
I don't know, I'm not seeing the disconnect here, Recorder.
I feel like, I can hold my breath. I don't breathe.
You don't breathe, so there's no problem there.
I don't breathe. I don't even have to use that turn of phrase. But if I'm going to go fishing, I would rather be where the fish are than dangle something hopefully in front of them and hope they bite onto it. I'm going to go down there and take the one I want.
But that's implying fishing doesn't work.
You're also forgetting that we can use nets.
You didn't say nets. You said fishing poles, though. Nets work fine.
Well, yeah, if we're on a boat, there's nets on a boat.
Why does it have to be one or the other? I feel like you're saying we can only use one style.
I feel no, it's not that we can only use one style. I feel as though spearfishing is more efficient than using a pole. Using a pole is a chance and you have to wait. A spear, you go down there and you hunt the fish. You're not just waiting there.
I think I see the disconnect here. I think we're thinking of using different waters for this. How deep is the water you're imagining them using?
The shore, ocean?
That's two very different levels.
The sea, then. Let's just say the sea.
So something more akin to open ocean.
Sure.
Where they're going to get a big fish.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be able to land on the bottom to recoup themselves. Everything they do is an expenditure of energy. I'm aware you don't get tired all that often.
I guess that's a fair point.
But there comes a point where the fish is too big and too strong. Having lured it to the correct spot to go beat it up seems like the correct decision.
But if you're near the shore and you just want to get some product for the day, you're going to want to use a fishing pole rather than going waist deep and hoping you don't scare the fish.
I'll give you that one, Recorder. In shallower waters, not even necessarily shallow waters, shallower waters, where they can land on the bottom and regain their bearings, I imagine it would be easier just to do spearfishing.
Okay.
But that tends to be a more local thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are only so many fish to come by that one area. If you go out into the open ocean, you have a much broader, your fishing range gets much, much larger. And with that, you can use skills you have and skills you've learned.
That's fair, and I see where different types of fishing would come in handy, but I still think I'm right, but I'm willing to put that aside.
Okay, so I think there's a confusion between all of us right now. We need to pause this right here. To clear it up, we started with the fishing poles.
Okay.
That didn't work. They insisted that the spears, like you were saying, was better. I personally still think they're not, but
okay.
It wasn't bringing enough fish to the market. They were bringing enough for their families and their tribes. So that led us to, or led me at least, to try and think of a better way. And I noticed that most fishing vessels have nets. So I tried to show them how to use a net. The first couple times, they kind of just threw the net, and I was just like, how are you going to get it back? And they're like, we get it back?
Yeah, I guess that's more of a complex fishing method if they're used to spears or fishing poles.
I think this has a really strong application to it. Like, if you were to get 2 boats, not rowboats, but something a little bit bigger, and have a big old net between them.
Okay.
You can have some of the lizard folk go down into the water and, kind of like sheepdogs, herd the fish up towards the net.
Okay.
That could yield more fish.
That would be really smart. I mean, they're good swimmers anyway.
So that seems like it might be a more solid application of net technology than just dumping them in the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to tell them, not to just throw them, but they still insist on just throwing them.
I don't think too many fish come vertically to the surface. Maybe salmon, but
No, not like
I see what you were saying.
not like carpeting the ocean with net.
That's what they were doing before when they didn't
Okay.
know how to properly use it.
They
Yeah.
would throw it, and then I'd be like, how are you going to get it back? And they're like, we don't.
Well, they could go swim and get it, but at that point, it probably doesn't have any fish in it
They could use the fishing pole.
to get the net back. Yeah, yeah. If you were to string the net between 2 boats,
Maybe anchor them with a heavy rock or something to stretch them out.
yeah, have some weight on the bottom of the net. Even if they're moving slowly, you can have others just herd the fish into the net and then grab the bottom of the net and pull it up.
Yeah.
They're already there. They know the net's there.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
if they're looking to get more fish into the market to sell, that would give them a huge bounty.
It would help us grow a business.
And you wouldn't need to spend a ton of money on huge boats because you have efficient swimmers. You don't have to be going fast or far. Well, some food for thought. We have gotten very far off track.
Have we?
We went from the mayor is missing to giving you ideas about how to catch fish.
Oh, yes, that's right. The mayor.
The mayor is still missing, and I wanted to mention that there's a ransom note.
There's a ransom, so we know who took him.
Yeah,
That's not how ransom notes work. It's usually just place money here, get
yeah.
your...
But when the note is this big and this poorly written, and with how he was smash and grabbed from his bedroom, it's probably ogres.
Ogres. Okay. They're big and brawly.
Yeah, the ransom note isn't actually readable, which is why we think it's ogres.
Okay. What did it say?
The word mayor appeared in it once,
Okay.
and that's about it. It's written in giant, but in really, really poor giant.
Okay. Is there anybody that can translate it?
Yeah, we have it translated. That's what it says.
Oh.
To clear up some of this confusion, I think a monstrous moments about ogres might be good to place here.
That might be good.
Primarily, ogres are a lot like people, but twice the size and 10 times the bulk.
Okay.
It's terrible to say, and I apologize if we have any ogre listeners, but you know where this is going. Ogres tend to be big, greasy, stupid, hairy dopes. The fact that they've kidnapped the mayor implies that these ones might either be smarter or under the employ of someone who is.
All right. So you think they're not one to organize themselves?
They're thick-skinned and thick-headed. No.
Okay.
I imagine there's more skin on their head than there is brain within.
Ooh.
That's
How
an
would that
interesting
look?
picture.
That's not a hard sentence. There's more skin on your head than there's brain in it.
If your brain's like that, you've got to have like this is the edge of your skull. The skin's got to be out like that.
What I'm saying is they have tiny brains, and I feel like that went really, really over your guys' heads.
I was just trying to picture an extremely fleshy skull.
Okay, so I'm gonna try that again because clearly that dog did not hunt. They're thick-skinned and thick-headed, so if they're the ones who wrote the ransom note, whoever they're working with probably isn't all that bright either.
Do you think it could be an ogre chieftain or some sort of outside species that are alike the ogres?
I think it's probably an outside species.
Yeah.
Something with a little more penchant for strategy, but still not brilliant. Something able to identify that, oh, if we take the mayor, we can get money. And that's about the extent of that thought.
Would ogres take orders from someone else?
Oh, absolutely. If it's someone who shares the smash and grab mentality that they have, they absolutely work with others.
I would ask if Teddy had any enemies, but I feel like that question doesn't need to be asked. And even then, it doesn't seem like this was anything targeting Teddy specifically. It was just, he's an important person. People will pay to have him back.
Yeah. I honestly think at this point that we just need to go probably beat up the guys who took him and get him back.
Are there a lot of ogres around Lattice?
I'm not aware of a lot of them. There's a few living in the city doing work, and I apologize if we took any cheap shots at you. I'm aware that not everybody fits their racial stereotypes. Mm-hmm. But on average, this tends to be ogre culture. So we have some in the city, but not many. I imagine there's still probably around a lot of the other cities.
Okay.
They tend to work in that regard, close to civilization, but not truly a part of it. So they can steal from it.
Okay, so we do believe that there is a tribe, is the accurate word?
I'd say tribe.
There's a tribe of ogres near Lattice.
Potentially.
So we think that Teddy was taken from the city, not stashed in a vacant building somewhere.
That's a possibility, too. I suppose we need to get, hopefully the people looking into this is someone who can track him down.
Okay.
Someone actually efficient at following the signs, maybe a little bit of divination magic. I imagine it can't be too hard if it is by ogres. There's probably not too much depth to where they've hidden him.
Right.
They probably leave a path carved from the trees or whatever they walk through.
I don't think they're quite that big, but yeah, that's probably a good sign.
Now, would astral projection be a method of tracking down Teddy? Would someone be able to just have their astral form locate him and just go directly to him, or would they still need to search?
They'd still have to search. I imagine it might be a little bit freer, but they'd still have to look for him. Walls become less of a problem, but at
You
that
still
point,
need to know the look.
You still
Okay.
have to go around.
But at that point, you'll know where to go once you're back corporeal.
Okay. I'm not well versed in magic or mystic arts in general, and I just figured, hey, if you could pop your consciousness out of your body, maybe you could just tell it right where to go. But
Yeah, I don't think I've ever astrally projected myself either, so I'm not 100% on that one, but
Neither have I.
it seems like a solid idea.
I assume that would be very hard to find an individual who's capable of doing that.
I think it's a more complicated spell. I think it's something that not your average mage would be able to do.
So it is a spell rather than an innate ability that certain magic-inclined people can do.
The magic inclined people? No, probably not.
Okay.
I imagine there's some species that can just do it freely.
Okay.
Humans are not one of them.
Right.
Neither are elves. Or you, apparently. You're a warforged, right?
I am a warforged, and that is not entirely true. I wasn't trained in magic. I was mostly strength and combat.
Right.
So any warforged could learn to be mystic.
No, I think
we were talking about innate.
Yeah, I think he's saying you don't have the innate ability to astrally project. You're literally the opposite of that.
Yeah.
You were pulled from the astral plane and forced into a body.
Essentially, I'm in...
That's how you were made?
You were pulled from some other realm and forced into a body.
And I don't have memories of where that would have come from. All I know is I am a soul in a not original body.
That's astounding. Anyways, the mayor.
I don't think I have anything else on that. We're still trying to track him down. We've offered up a couple of ideas. I know there's people working on it. So we've got you updated.
If it's ogres, it's only a matter of time.
It's probably going to result in a fight, but...
Is Teddy in any direct harm? Are they not... I don't want to offend any of our ogre listeners, but are they intelligent enough to realize that if he comes back harmed or worse, they're not going to get anything but a worse fight than they wanted to?
On average, I think it's how we have to cover our bases on some of these touchier subjects. We have to mention that there's always the individuals who break the norm. On average, I don't think if they're trying to ransom him, I imagine he's maybe got a broken bone or two. There's probably
nothing life-threatening.
No grandiose harm. That seems like it would absolutely detract from what they're trying to do. Let's move on to something a little more positive. We've, in fact, found out about these mysterious merchants that we've been dealing with.
Oh, okay. Finally got some more information on them.
And that's another reason why Lenny's out here today.
Oh, I don't think I like where this is going.
Well, you will.
Okay. We'll see that when we get there.
So those merchants were the crew of the Rosemary. And
Okay.
I found out that our goods weren't as up to code as I thought they were.
And by up to code, he means a lot of them were prestidigitated. They were crafted from nothing and made into crap goods. Some of them were sneaking into people's houses and taking some of their nicer ceramic dinnerware and replacing it with prestidigitated nonsense.
Okay. I don't remember. Did I mention prestidigitation?
I think so. I believe that came up.
So, if I remember correctly, I think I called that.
Yeah.
I think I was accurate with the prestidigitation.
I believe so.
So, my theories aren't always wrong.
Sometimes when you jump to a conclusion, you do land on something.
It might not always be the right thing,
And
but
sometimes it's your own face. But in this case, it seems like you were at least on the right track.
Okay. That makes me feel more confident in my deductive reasoning.
and once I left, I started helping the Lizardfolk, like I said, and they kind of helped me get rid of them.
Now,
This week's thank you goes out to Lenny and the Lizardfolk, who, in fact, grabbed the rosemary and pushed it out to sea.
really, just the straight up ship, just pushed it right out
Yep.
to sea.
I totally helped there.
Also, Lenny and the Lizardfolk. Sounds like a good band name.
Only one of the Lizardfolk plays the ukulele.
All right.
It's pretty good talent.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what he had told me on the way out, he managed to convince enough of the Lizardfolk to just go ahead and push the rosemary as far out to sea as possible.
Okay.
And with the lighthouse missing, it has to be a day trip back in, and now that we're calling them out on their nonsense, I don't think they're going to be coming back.
That's fair. Lenny, did you leave the crew because of this, or were you already in the process of leaving?
Well, from the last time, I did want to start my own business, so finding out that what you guys told me was in fact true kind of pushed me over the edge and literally went over the edge onto land and stayed on land.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to find out that you're going straight now. And
Yeah.
maybe we can use that to maybe keep Teddy from asking about you when he gets back.
Yeah, I've been trying to be good. Having to explain to the people that Teddy sends that I'm not on the bad side anymore gets tiring.
Right, I can imagine.
Ignorance of the law is not immunity. That doesn't. You're not necessarily in the right. However, you're
He's trying to right some wrongs.
trying to make the change. I think we're gonna be good. I'm not sure you're gonna have to worry too much about anybody coming to arrest you for a while now, especially since you've been working with the Lizardfolk.
Yeah, you helped integrate a new culture into the society that is Lattice. And the last time we spoke, you wanted your own fleet. That's correct, right? You wanted your own shipping business?
Yes.
But it seems like you may have fallen into another line of work, my friend, helping other species integrate into society. That might be another path you can take.
Yeah, it has been rewarding. I do have to send for my family so they can come to Lattice and not be oceans apart.
And even if he doesn't want that, sorry to speak about you, Lenny, as though you're not here. I mean, he is. You have befriended the Lizardfolk. At this point, I imagine with a little bit of training, they'd make fairly decent sailors.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry too much about them getting knocked overboard.
Even then, they're not confined to the ship itself.
So I think you might actually still be right on track for your own business if any of them might be interested.
Yeah, start out here, expand to the sea.
For all intents and purposes, you could be a shuttle from other continents to bring maybe some more secluded tribes or villages into Lattice. You could shuttle them, and the Lizardfolk are your best clients, essentially. They can be the proof that you know what you're doing.
That's true. And I can
Yeah,
also
but-
find exotic goods.
I think that's a better route to take, because where you're going might wind up with a bit of culture shock.
That's true, but if you bring someone who's native to a place with exotic goods, then that's a more direct line to have those exotic goods in the city.
Yeah, but if they're here, they can't go get them.
I think if I were to allow them to join us if they wanted to, would be a better way to phrase that.
Sure.
That way they could see what we have to offer and bring back to them.
Okay. So the way I was thinking was one direction, but the way you're mentioning it can be both ways. Lattice can help these secluded villages, and these secluded villages could bring some more exotic goods, wares.
Agreed. Even if the goods aren't tangible, but they're ideas.
Fair.
I think that about does it for everything we needed to cover.
Yeah, it was a lot of conversation that happened.
It was.
And it was all voluntary.
Yes, which I'm very pleased to find out.
Yeah. All you have to do is ask.
Sometimes that's not the most efficient way to get a chained up orc over here.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got a piece of fan mail.
Okay.
It reads, "What is Pandora? We're all told to avoid it. It's on all the maps. But what really is it?
Ooh, Pandora. That's a heavy one right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's sailed knows not to go in it. And anybody who's sailed into it has learned why not to go into it.
Yeah.
Lenny, you've sailed through it yourself, or have you been able to steer clear of it?
Well, I was in the boat as it went through it. It wasn't of my own choice.
So yes, you sailed through it.
Yeah.
What he's saying is he wasn't sailing the boat, but yes, he's been in it.
Okay. What was your experience like?
It was weird.
What happened?
There's a lot of colors.
Really?
The water was purple. The skies were like swirly.
Okay. Is that it?
That's all I saw.
That sounds like you got off pretty light. Yeah,
that's a mild experience, man.
Is that not what everyone sees?
In my travels, it seems as though everybody experiences it differently. For example, even people that you were going through with that were standing next to you may have had a completely different experience.
That would explain the screaming.
Yeah, that tends to happen when you go through Pandora.
Yeah,
and it might even be your crew screaming either.
your experience does not sound particularly scream-worthy.
Unless I was hearing those screams and they weren't my crew. You're right.
That's true.
I know in one of the more recent times I've bumbled through there, the captain of the boat was pulled off the boat, and gravity seemed to work differently for him for a while, and I think he got stabbed by a ghost.
Huh.
It's very complicated to describe when gravity becomes subjective, and someone is then using it differently than you.
Yeah, see, that sounds like more of a typical Pandora story.
I'm glad I didn't have that.
There are less of these kind of stories circulating because people now know to leave it, because I assume your captain died?
No.
He lived.
Yes.
He was stabbed and lived?
I would have died.
I don't know how truly he was stabbed, though. That's kind of what it comes down to, is we don't really know what happens in Pandora. It could have just been some kind... He said he was stabbed, and he had a scar as though he was, but there was never any blood. I never saw any blood. He was thrown down on the deck, and some of the wood broke, but short of that, he seemed okay.
And did you share this experience, or did you just see the aftermath?
I watched him do it. I watched it happen to him.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, that's a shared experience right there.
And you couldn't stop it?
I didn't have his gravity. He was maybe he was maybe 50 feet over the mast.
Without wings, that would be hard to get to.
And mind you, this is long before I had established a drunk duck.
Wow.
I have not been in Pandora in a very long time. I've sailed close to it, and even that starts to get weird.
Weirdness does tend to leach out sometimes.
A lot of the times it's called the mists of Pandora, because when you're in it, that's what it feels like. It feels like a mist. But when you're looking at it from the outside, it seems almost like a prismatic wall. Mm-hmm. As though you could throw something at it and it would bounce off.
Right. I know the last time I traveled through, we had a fleet with us, and this, I'm not sure how often mass shared experiences in Pandora goes, but we were attacked by sea monsters. And the closest thing I can say they looked like were purple worms. But imagine that about 100 times larger.
All right, that's probably not an ocean critter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was way bigger than what the waters in that area would have been able to house. So I can only assume it was an illusion generated by Pandora, but these illusions, because there were more than one of them, it took out most of our fleet.
Well, what I've heard is that Pandora can be considered an interplanar overlap. Imagine that the triangle that is Pandora is the same place on every plane.
Okay.
All right.
The plane of air, the plane of
fire,
water,
and
earth.
all those places do not have the same rules, which is part of the problem.
Right.
I'm not sure if there is an actual Pandora on the elemental plane of air.
Mm-hmm.
But supposedly, within Pandora, there is a piece of the elemental plane of air. Or something akin to that. I'm not an astrologist.
So would it be like a location where all the planes happen to touch?
No, those actually happen. It's called a world meet glade. It's kind of a peaceful meeting where chunks of different planes are, and even extraplanar creatures can show up and be there for a little bit.
Right. You said peaceful. What if it's not peaceful? What if that's what Pandora is? But not peaceful.
I feel as though what you described before is it is peaceful. It's where two realms are sort of sharing an existence in a location, what I have to assume is Pandora is every realm fighting for dominance.
A world meat glade is more like you got a pie and each slice is a different flavor. Pandora's more like you have 30 flavors of pie, all trying to occupy the same tin.
Mm-hmm. So it's a mixed-matched swirl of realities that are trying to compete with each other
for the actual space that they exist in. And anything going into this usually messed with pretty severely or destroyed or lost. It's subject to whatever rules exist at the time.
All right, that
Which,
makes more sense.
if there's an infinite amount of planes, there's an infinite amount of ways things can go wrong.
Even if there's not an infinite amount of planes, Limbo is infinity. Limbo is the plane of chaos where anything can happen. A dust storm can suddenly turn into birds that are flying at you, which then can explode into gouts of fire, which then crystallize into diamond that cast a hard light rainbow out into the air, which then swirl into a tornado. The rules aren't. Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike Limbo, where a particularly powerful mage can partially control it, Pandora appears to be more chaotic than that. It appears to be less stable, I think might be a better way to put it.
And any control that's supposed to be imposed is immediately shredded down to nothing.
You might have it for a moment, and then the rules change, and you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The more you try to control it, the more you realize that that is not a possibility.
Well, that would be the hope. I think the more you try to control it, the more people try to control it, which is why we have some of the stories we have.
Also true.
Yeah.
You'd think after the first couple of people came back and went, nope, don't go in there, people would stop going in there.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of adventurers sometimes just want to see what it's about and immediately regret their decisions.
It does make travel in the north a little less convenient, but for the most part, it's easy enough to get around. You just stay out of it.
Mm-hmm. That being said, it is an extremely large portion of the ocean, but
it is a good chunk.
avoidable.
It's larger than a couple of the continents, but it is absolutely not something you have to experience, and something I would suggest not experiencing.
Agreed.
There is usually never a good outcome. You seem to have an extraordinary story of mildness.
And to be fair,
You got really lucky, my friend.
The way he described the outer edge, I might have just been on the outer edge, not even have gone in.
That's also a possibility. Maybe just some weirdness creeping out rather than... I'm pretty sure we sailed through the heart. I don't know why the captain decided to do that, but I'm surprised any of us made it out.
And I know I've been through the whole of it myself, at least once.
But yeah, I do not recommend anybody going there for any reason. All right, well, it seems as though that's all we had on the table today. Now that we have this nice
We
table.
can actually say that now because we have a table out here.
You did have stuff on the table.
Yeah, it's nice. And you gave him that mug, but I don't think you knew to bring your own drink. That's how we established it would work.
I didn't know to bring my own drink. I think I'm just going to bring a keg out here next time.
Okay. But anyway, thank you for coming back, Lenny. I'm glad things are, going your way. You're pirate adjacent now?
Ex-pirate.
Ex-pirate. Yeah, we can say
I
that.
like
You're
ex-pirate.
Unknowingly a pirate.
You're complicating it again. We're going to stick with ex-pirate.
Ex-pirate. I'm glad you were able to help integrate a new way of life into the city of Lattice. That's something pretty truly amazingly special if you think about it.
I'm glad they found a niche they can fill.
Mm-hmm.
If I can help any more, I'd be happy to as well.
Yeah, and I know I'll be interested to see what things come from you now, so...
So am I. So if anyone listening would like to pick up any supplies and or fish, you can come to...
Supplies like what? Like, can you get more specific about that?
Well, like general supplies like bandages, medicine, planks of wood.
That's right! You used to deal in, exclusively planks of wood and drugs.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're trying to move away from that.
Yeah,
Away from drugs, but apparently not just selling planks of wood.
There's nothing illegal about planks of wood.
No, but it's just amazing. What do you sell? Planks of wood, not boards, not beams, just planks of wood.
Yeah.
A plank is different than a board.
Exactly. So there's many wood options that you can sell or buy, but he only deals in one specific one, which I find fantastic.
I can tell you're getting really amped up over this.
Well, I had to compete with the carpenters, and they all have beams and slabs of wood, so I had to call them planks of wood.
So it's just a branding decision you've made?
Yeah.
All right, where can we go get your fish or planks of wood?
You can go to the shop near the coast called Time Immemorium. For those listening, though, it is THYME, not
Okay, like the
time.
spice.
Got it.
You spell time, right?
Yeah.
You spell time, not sell time?
You didn't spell time, but you sell time?
No.
Can I buy these last 10 seconds back?
Sam was played by Tucker Avery. Recorder was played by Kenny Boucher. Leonard the Merchant was played by Michael Amaral. Recorder and Sam logo was created by Alana Heyman. Music was created by Dominic Rudinsky. If you want to ask the show a question, leave a comment or send an email to recorderandsam@gmail.com.
Recorder and Sam now has our own Discord server where you can feel free to socialize with other people who listen, and just as well, we have our own little room where you can go ahead and leave questions at the bar.
We'll see you in the next episode.